Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Friday morning. Hope everyone's okay. Hope everyone is all right and everyone's having a good day and look forward to a good weekend. Obviously, Spurs playing this weekend versus Manchester United. This is the Manchester United preview. Obviously, we've got some quite, I guess, more positive news out of the club due to the injury side of things. We're going to be talking about that. Obviously, the Ange presser that will be happening within the next few hours. We'll probably find out even more surrounding the injury situation. We got some great stats, and yeah, we're going to get into it and talk about Manchester United. Obviously, this game is a big one for sadly many different reasons. Yeah, we're just going to get through it. We're just going to get through it. Morning, Spurs, Dragon, Adiz, Steve, Sonia, Jacob. How are we all? Look, Man United, obviously, and Spurs forming the part of the big six. This is, two of the big six, right? And neither of them are having the season that they want. Now, they are having the season that they want in terms of Europe, but in terms of the league, they're not having the season that they want. Okay. I mean, when you look at the Premier League table right this second for both these teams, they are only 2 points separated in one another. They are 13th and 14th. Okay. It's not the way you would have foreseen both of their campaigns going. Especially when you look at, some of the stats that we have on the board, you'd think, oh, Spurs must be a lot further up than they are, but they're not. I mean, looking at this season right now, they're the team in 13th, having played 24 games, 8 wins, 5 draws, 11 losses. They've scored 28 in that time and conceded 34. Spurs, in the same amount of games, have won 8, drawn 3, and lost 13. So we've lost 2 more and drawn 2 less. But Spurs have scored 48 in that time, conceding 37. So Spurs, having conceded only 3 more goals than Manchester United, have scored 20 more than them. Okay, so that obviously we'll come back to in due course because, well, it's going to matter. That's for sure. Going through some of the stats surrounding this game, Spurs are unbeaten in their last 4 Premier League games against Manchester United, having won 2 and drawn 2. Obviously, beat Man United as well in the EFL Cup this season 4-3. We're looking to complete the league double over Manchester United since the 89-90 season. Manchester United have conceded at least twice in each of their last 4 Premier League games against Spurs. The last side that conceded multiple goals against for 5 consecutive league games was Arsenal between 1975 and 1978. Tottenham have already beaten Manchester United twice in all competitions this season, 3-0 in the Premier League when we were playing at Manchester United, and 4-3 in the League Cup quarter-final. Not since 89-90 have Spurs beaten Manchester United 3 times in a single campaign. The last time anyone did that to Man United was in 2012-2013. This is a horrific stat. After beating Brentford 2-0, Spurs are looking to win back-to-back Premier League games for just the second time this season, having done so previously in September, when their 2 wins were over Brentford and Manchester United. So there you go. There's some wicked old stats there for us to think about. Do you know what? For this game, I'm feeling a lot more confident for this game. I actually am. Hey, Callum, Classic Rolls, Jazz, how are we all? I'm really looking forward to this game for quite a few different reasons. Manchester United Spurs games always seem to throw up chaos, throw up goals, and things that definitely you can talk about. But Spurs have had a lot of success with Manchester United over the last few years. A lot. We have been the better team in regards to this fixture. Home and away all included. We've been the better team out of the 2. That 3-0 win earlier on this season, we were about 3 or 4 levels above them. Even when they had 11 men on the pitch, they were still going to get beat by multiple. When they went down to 10 men, I actually thought they played a little bit better because I think we took our foot off the gas and then obviously finally got the killer blow towards the end. But even that game when we won 4-3, when you look at it, we basically scored them the 2 goals. Because Forster basically went, here you go, mate, here's 2 goals. So, yes, we scored from a corner, and maybe that's not something that's common, but it's also not common for the keeper to basically score 2 own goals for you. So, That's why I'm like, okay, we'll take away that corner goal. We'll just take away the 2 goals that we just gifted you for fun, and it's 3-1. We were much the better team in that game as well. Yes, they were good for the last sort of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but we were better to them for the first 60. Now, let's feature in that a week ago, Manchester United played in the FA Cup. They did win that game, a last-minute winner versus Leicester City. So they'll have had 2 more days rest than us. Obviously, we played on the Sunday. They played on the Friday. But regardless, when you've had a week off from 90 minutes of football, you're still going to be somewhat fresher than you would have hoped for, So we're still going to be fresh. With the Manchester United injuries side of things, they do have a few injuries that we do need to keep an eye on. Obviously, Martinez, he's done for the season. I think he did his ACL. Luke Shaw, he's out injured, but when is he ever fit? You know what I mean? Backup goalkeeper Bayindir was ruled out of the Leicester game, but he's not going to play, let's be honest. Their third keeper's not going to play. It's going to be Anana. And Mason Mount is out injured as well. So missing a few players, but in reality, they're missing Martinez and Mount. The rest of them are never there, really playing sort of prominent football or just being fit as a whole. Indiana, mate, how are you, mate? Dino, Gibbo, how are we? You hear Ahmad might be injured. Well, hopefully he's okay, as a human. But if he was to miss one game, that wouldn't hurt. He's been their best player this season, so it wouldn't hurt. Let's looking at Manchester United and looking at last time out. I'm just going to give you the team that played against Leicester. So it starts with Anana in goal. The back three was Mazraoui, Harry Maguire, and Lenny Yoro. The midfield two really was Agate and Mainu. The wingers was Dallo and Dorgu, which is really weird. They played Dallo on the left-hand side, but put Dorgu on the right. Really feels a bit of an imbalance there. And I know Dorgu can play a bit of right wing. That's not what I'm having a concern with. I'm having a concern that you do have a guy that can play left back, but you're choosing the right back to play there. And then, your front three was Fernandez, Diallo, and Højlund. And Diallo is their best player at the moment. I think, to be fair, I think Bruno's looked pretty decent recently from the games that I have watched, but I think Diallo has been their best player. But they won 2-1 in that game. Like I said, when it comes to us, the last 5 games back from 27th of April 2023, we drew 2-2. We then, obviously, this exact corresponding fixture last season was actually our first win under Ange, was a 2-0 win at home. Obviously, keeping a clean sheet, all that stuff being involved. The team that played, Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Doggy, Basuma, Sarr, Madison, Kulusevski, Son, and Richarlison. In reality, you might only have a handful of those that are going to be starting this time out. Their team's going to look different. Anthony's in their team, Mount's in the team, Rashford's in the team, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, Shaw. So they're going to look completely different to what we faced as well. But we've had a lot of success with Man United, and I do have a little bit of confidence when it comes to Manchester United. I just think because Spurs have had, a little bit of rest. I think Spurs obviously stylistically have success against Manchester United. You're getting to get players back fit. Well, fit's probably not the right word. Fitter. Able to play. That's why I have a bit more confidence about this game. Dane scoring the ice on the cake. Love that. Tell to bite them. God Lord. Good Lord. Both Spurs and Man United are currently on unfamiliar grounds on the league standings, but it's gratifying that they're making positive strides that allowed us to pick Spurs to win this encounter, though. Fair enough. All right, that Jabulani. Hey, we all know what a Jabulani is. Great football, that was. I think we have a chance against Manchester United. I was very disappointed with links to Simeone Inzaghi. He's a great coach, but he's got a completely different style of play to Ange. Well, the issue is obviously if you're going to get a manager like Inzaghi, you basically rip up the last 18 months to 2 years under Ange and then have to start all over again. And are you going to be patient with him? You know what I mean? It's horrible. If you're firing Ange, at least get someone like Areola. Well, Areola likes to get some players injured. It's a joke. It's not him getting the players injured. It's some things just happen. So he'd fit right in with Spurs. Central midfield can be Guetta. Agate has been average. Yeah, we had Spurs fans for ages twerking to get Agate, and I was never really sold on him. 3 on Spurs. 4 lad. Hey, Baz, mate, how are you? Ed, how are you? Look, so What do we think of the Spurs team that could be out this weekend? So in goal, are people feeling Kinski? I do think Vic's going to be back. Okay, I'm putting this in, so get your comments in as I'm sort of throwing out the options, and together we'll make our team. Because nicely this time, it's not me going, well, I've got 13 players to choose from. Here's my team, and you guys going, yeah, I probably agree with that because you don't really have much of an option. This time around, it feels like we're going to have some options to talk about. So by the looks of things, Vic seems to be the guy that people are feeling right now. So let's say Vic's back in goal. Okay. Centre back pairing, I think it's going to be Davies and Danso. I don't think that's really more of a conversation to have. I think it's going to be those two guys. Fullbacks. Now, Destiny is back. Do people feel like that Destiny is going to get thrown in for sort of 60 minutes or 45 minutes? How do people feel that left back position will go, or do they think that will be Spence playing at left back? And it's not to say that if Destiny was come back, that Spence wouldn't play right back. I'm just saying, would people feel like Destiny plays at left back this time out to start? Again, in the comments. That's some said Kinski was our new number one when he first signed and played versus Liverpool. This is hating on Kinski, but Vakara is number one. Kinski, honestly, for a lot of, there was a couple of times where he looked a little bit too lax on the ball, where he didn't have enough urgency with it. And yes, the Villa goal wasn't good, but actually, if you look at that Villa game in its total, we could have lost that game 6 or 7-1. And he was a huge reason why we didn't. He made so many great saves. So I still think he's a decent keeper. I'm not, crucifying him for it, Not looking good for Van der Ven for the season. Rumors he's out for the season. Yeah, let's just wait and see what old Ange says. That's the way I look at it. I'm not, you see aggregators say stuff that aren't like the main guys. I just think just wait for Ange. Don't get yourself bent out of shape. Just wait for Ange to tell you. Because imagine you get yourself bent out of shape and then Ange goes, he's actually back. He's already been back in training. You go, oh, okay, maybe he's not out for the season. You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. Andy, why are people accepting that the injuries are real, but Ange is still a poor manager? History says with a fit squad, Ange gets results. I can't understand Ange out logic. Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. There's a lot of reasons as to things. There's probably Ange probably could have done maybe a better job at the start of the season with his rotation, I would say. But to put it all down on Ange, why the injuries are his fault is, I think, lazy. I think there's so many people that have a hand in the reason as to why we're getting injuries. He has to obviously have a reason in it. But, to say that he is the main culprit, I think is somewhat lazy, if I'm honest. There's more that goes into these things. I think even, by the way, some people have sort of said, Andy, you can't be saying anything about Mickey van der Ven. Sometimes timelines don't work. And I said, I don't need to have an exact day as to when. I don't need next Tuesday, he's back in training. I don't need that. What I need is somewhat of a bit more of an open line of chatter where they go, instead of saying Mickey's just we're managing his minutes, he's injured. That's fine. I think Spurs fans, look, they get annoyed by it, but they'd get over it. They'd stop being, salty, and they'd go, okay, he's injured. At least we know. We move on from that, I think some people are misconstruing what I'm saying quite heavily. Spencer the doggy for 60, then Porro comes on. Yesterday, Destiny, first half only. Destiny probably gets 20 minutes. Yeah, I agree. Would you play Spencer right back and Porro further forward? No, I've always been really, really big on Pedro Porro and Christian Romero. They are not a defensive midfielder, and he is not a right winger. Do not play them there. The right winger thing that I mean, people go, play him right wing. And I'm like, our right wingers have to be able to score. That's what has our most success, our right wingers scoring. Because the creativity on the right wing actually comes from Porro. Ball gets dragged back to him. He whips a ball in. The left wingers and left side create all, because Maddison was over that side as well. They create the most opportunities. The right winger needs to be able to score. And that's why Johnson has so much success, because actually Johnson does score those goals. No, I'm not saying always, but he does score some. And that's why I think Matisse Tell, even at right wing, would have a lot of success, when Solanke's back, maybe. Yeah, obviously with Maddison being out, that changes a real big dynamic of the team. I think that's what we're struggling with most, is the lack of creativity sometimes from that lack of Maddison, Um, Ange does need to sell us more on. Yeah, I just think we. I just think that's what we're struggling with. We're like, well, we saw Romero in training and he's vanished, and I think that's what people are struggling with. They're not. No one's crucifying the club or any. I mean, there's be some that are, but there's no one's doing that. I just think we're sort of we've been kept in the dark for weeks now, and we just want somewhat of an answer. And it's, by the way, I saw people calling out like Alistair Gold and stuff like that, saying you need to be asking them questions. They do, but let's be real. You get briefed on what you need to say half the time. Not those guys. I'm just saying. But hopefully we get some more of just a bit of an update. That's all. Like I said, I'm not expecting Mickey's back here, Romero's back here. Just a bit more of a realistic update. That's all I want. Not being rude about it. Slots excuses. How are we? Crunch game for both teams on Sunday. Agree, Bill. Classic Rolls reckons Vic, Porro, Danso, Davies, Spence, Bentancur, Bergval, Kulu, Sontel, Brenda. Not Brendan. Brenda. Is that the tea lady? 50-50, even though we are at home. I would like to see a 4-4-2. We'll never play a 4-4-2, bud. We'd never play a 4-4-2. And just played the same way over the last decade, which has got him to Spurs. Why would he change? Andy and all Spurs fans want clarity, not a deadline on injuries, unless I've read you wrong. I don't need he's back here. I also just don't need to be fed we're managing his minutes, because you're not managing his minutes. That's all. That's all. Nothing. I'm not harping. I'm not crucifying. I'm not berating. Just a little bit of clarity. That's all I want. It's very hard to say who should start when the player's fitness is so unknown. Like, we don't even know if Van der Ven's injured. So what chance do we know he's fit to play? I heard Van der Ven's playing up front. Tell's playing left back. Van der Ven's up front. Son's in goal. Look, anyway, let's get back to the team. So, for the most part, I think Destiny's on the bench. I think Destiny comes on 15, 20 minutes to go. Okay? I think Spence and Porro are the fullbacks. And then, like I said, you could sub a Spence off. You could sub a Porro off and move Spence to right back. It depends really how the game's going. Because if Spence is absolutely flying and Porro's struggling, then yeah, okay, Spence over to right back. Destiny can come on. I mean, if both are playing really well, you might not even sub Destiny on. You might just say, we're going to leave you another week and we'll see how you go next weekend. Because next week, we don't play midweek again. Next week, we have a whole week off leading into the weekend to Ipswich away. So let's see. Midfield 3, fascinating here. There is options. So the fit guys that you can play are Archie Gray, Bergval, Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr, Madison potentially has a chance to play as well. You could say Kulusevski, because obviously if Johnson's back fit, you could say Kulusevski's a midfielder. So actually the midfield room, I've always said the midfield room has been healthy, but the issue is the midfield room has been pulled pillar to post. Like, they've had the odd injury here and there, but Archie Gray's playing in defence, all across the defence. Kulusevski's playing more right wing. That's the issue. I mean, Basuma's sometimes playing centre back. So they've been pulled pillar to post. Now it feels like they have a little bit more health in the midfield. And I think this is a really good question. I want to know what you guys think your midfield 3 will be. Because I think, looking at how the midfield played last weekend. Now, look, the midfield last weekend, that is an exhausted midfield. They'd played Thursday. They'd played the Sunday before the Thursday, blah, blah, blah. They've had a week off now. And I feel like Sarr's going to start. I think Sarr's had a week off. He didn't start against Villa. I think Sarr's going to start. I don't think Archie Gray's going to start. Now, it's not because I don't think Archie Gray's good. You know me. I've been really consistent with my Archie Gray point. I think he's an absolute bloody rock star in the making. But he's also played an absurd amount of football. And so is Porro. And the other thing that Porro, people sort of slag off, Porro's played the most football for outfield players in Europe this season, of the top 5 leagues. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's actually not crap. He's just a little bit exhausted and playing through his exhaustion, So I think Archie on the bench wouldn't do him any harm. I think Sarr to start. I tell you what, Basuma normally has a good game against Man United, doesn't he? I mean, that 2-0 fixture, he was phenomenal. Bentancur normally has success against Man United as well. That's an interesting one. Want Kulusevski, Porro, and Gray to be rested. I don't think there's any harm in having Archie Gray rested for the week. I don't think there's any harm in that. Bergvall, Sarr matters. I love the midfield of Bentancur, Bergvall, and Kulusevski on paper, but it doesn't translate well on the pitch. Maybe because of instructions of players, or maybe just not balanced. Sarr, OMG, no. Can someone give this a kick in the arse? Years ago, players coming back from injury would get minutes in reserves. I think that's missing in football. Yeah, that's there's an issue in world football, isn't there? There's too many injuries. So when players get that fit, it's like, mate, you need to come back and play because your replacement or the guy we rotated in for you, thumbs up, you're welcome. He got injured, so you're gonna have to come back and play now. You know, so I get your point, Ed, because I think you might be right there. Biss over Bentancur. Spurs midfield must bite, be aggressive, be quick and dispossessing opponents, and Swift is setting up counters. Spurs must get back to high temp style of nippy pass instead of walking with the ball. Well, this is the thing. There's a stat that shows as the season's gone on, our sprints per game has fallen dramatically, and that's because of exhaustion. So I think because of that, Spurs for the next 2 games are going to be a bit more Red Arrow-esque. Looks like every game we 5-0. I'm hoping they can rest Lucas, Archie, and Pedro in some way, either during the week or via rotation. Bentancur should be fine against United, as they likely won't be pressing very intensely. Well, United do have their moments where they can press. I think for me, I think I would go. Look, if Matters can give you 60, you go Matters. But I think Matters is going to be on the bench. I think Matters is going to be on the bench. I think you'll have Bissouma, Bentancur, and I'll say Lucas, Bergvall for now. That's the 3 that I think will go. I think Matters on the bench, last 30, 40 minutes, just that creativity and energy. You know, it's not to say that I don't think Matters is great. It's not because I don't think Destiny's great. I just think also these players who have been playing a lot recently have at least had a few days off from training. They've had a week's rest. They're going to be a hell of a lot fitter this game than they would against Aston Villa. You'll see a real change in them. And then, yeah, the beautiful thing is you can then look at the bench and go, right, we've got Destiny, got a good left back there. Matters, our best playmaker when it comes to playing centrally. He's there. Johnson, he might be on the bench to start. Johnson's there. I mean, I could see Johnson starting. I could. I think Johnson could start 45 minutes. And then you could flip Kulusevski out to the right wing, or, I think if Kulu starts, because Dalot gets very forward. He doesn't do tons with it, but he gets forward. And you're going to need some energy with tracking back at times. But I think Kulu starting on the right wing. And I think you'd go Sonny and Tell. That's what I feel like it's going to be. I mean, the fact is, Johnson, let's take that list of Vicario, Destiny, Matters, Odebear. Vicario, Destiny, Matters, Odebear, Johnson. Yeah, I was right. It's those 5. I feel like, you could have a situation where you go, all right, Vic might start. Okay. Vic might start. Obviously, his thing wasn't muscle related. It was bone related. If the bone's fully healed, then you're somewhat ready to go. I'm not saying exactly, but because I think some people sometimes take my words a little bit too literally. But I think if you have Odebear and Jono coming off the bench, that's a lot of pace. Okay. And yeah, if Sonny's, 60 minutes, you start to look at Son and go, he looks a little bit gassed. Cool. Odebear, 30 minutes. And just let him just get the ball, pinging out to left wing and going, right, you see the right back or right centre back, we don't care who it is, go. Just go. Every single time. Don't care if you lose the ball, go. With Jono at the right wing, just go, mate, you're a goal scorer. That's all we need you for. We don't need you to win aerial duels. We don't need you to be playing tiki-taka and playing everyone through and things like that. Sometimes we just whip balls into the back post and we want you to be there. Okay. Obviously, Scarlett's going to be back on the bench as well because he was cup-tied. So, I mean, you've got Odebear, Scarlett, and Jono back as attacking reinforcements. Still got Mikey on the bench, obviously. You flip into the midfield. Madders is going to be back. That's obviously something that I think we've really missed Maddison. We really have. I mean, he was brilliant against Hoffenheim, and we've missed him since. you could say, well, look, okay, you've got Madison on the bench. Maybe Archie's on the bench, and maybe and then you go, okay, well, there's your two midfielders on the bench. You could even flip Kulusevski into the midfield. Once Johnson comes on, maybe Kulu comes a bit more central potentially. Defensively, obviously, Destiny's back. So you've got an option fullback wise. If Spence or Porro, one of them stinking up the gaff, or one of them looks a little bit tired, cool. Destiny, 20 minutes, on you go. And you start to look at it, and Ange will start to look at that bench and go, right, we've got options here. We can change the game from the bench with fit legs or fittish legs. I wouldn't say anyone's fit, but everyone is a little bit fitter than they were. And just going, look, run yourself into the grounds, lads, for 60 minutes. You've got a week off next week. We've got Ipswich at the weekend, the 22nd or whatever it is. Run yourself into the ground because you're going to have days off next week where you can rest up. I'd expect to see Son, by the way. I'd expect to see the Son that you saw last season where he was just charging headless for 70 minutes. I'd expect to see something similar to that, maybe for about 60 minutes. And I think Odegaard comes on. Then you've got energy, more passion, more energy, more energy. Apologies, that was awful. I don't know why I've done that. Don, I appreciate the super chats. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well. There you go. Madison halftime impact. If Johnson and Odegaard are okay to start, I'd like Decky in the middle. Son needs a rest. Son does need a rest, but also Son has had a week off. And my point has always been once a week Sonny. I still think he's a really good player. Same starting 11 as for cup games. Introduce returning players as game goes on. I don't hate that, Chris. I also think, Chris, you could be right there, if I'm honest. Tell needs to play through the middle. Odegaard for Son, Johnson for Kulu for the last 30 minutes. Yeah, I hope to see Odegaard. I hope to see Tell as a striker. That was a really good finish against Villa. And I hope to see him in there. And by the way, Tell's link-up play is actually pretty damn good, which, shock news, the guy played at Bayern Munich. It's going to be pretty decent. But his link-up play from a striker, in terms of he can drop and he plays first-time passes, but also he plays first-time passes with intent. It's not a touch, pass. Sometimes it's just ball comes in, bang, ball goes sweeping away. And that's why I think Sarr is the 8 with that energy, that box-to-box energy. Sarr gets into space. One thing you can say about Pape is when we're pinging it, Pape's like, I'm not getting involved. I'm over here. Right winger is touching the touchline. I'm not even far off of him. The ball just gets swept out to the right centre mid, and Pape's just gone. And before you know it, you've got, if it is Johnson or Kulu, you've got Pape, you've got Pedro, you've got a 3-man attack there against normally 2 players. And that's why we have a ton of success. So that's why I think Tell at striker, first-time passes into Pape, and off we go. I think Mikey Moore is like 14, 15 Grealish. Thanks, Man United, for yet another 3 points contribution to our Spurs kitty. Right, here you go. Jared's team. Let's have a look. So, Kinski in goal. Spence, Davies, Danso, Destiny. So he reckons Destiny starting. Interesting. Gray's at the 6 with Basuma, Bergval, then Madders, Kulu behind Tell. Ooh, I'm not sure about that, Jared. I just think Destiny starting is where I have a concern. I think Porro will start. I think Destiny is off the bench. I'm just because Destiny's obviously missed a little bit of time and he played so much football leading into that injury. I think they'll treat players coming back a bit like how they treated Mickey, where it was 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes, you're off. Or it's 30 minutes, that's it. We're not rushing you. I mean, the beauty is obviously we play in a week's time. So it'd be really good to get some of these players sort of 15, 20 minutes. And then next time out, you go, right, we're going to get you 60 minutes. That's one thing. Odegaard Tell connection is coming. We will be there. We all saw him turn around and look at the bench. And we lip read, F me, where did all these options come from? Well, the thing is, in the Spurs situation where there's the bench, and then next to the bench is where the players that are injured sit, and the injured players area is longer than the actual bench. So as we're looking at that area and looking at the bench, going, you boys normally over there. Where have you come from? Moore, Son, Johnson, Odobert is a lively bench. Set up different from Amarin, Ten Hag. Looking at it in another way, whereas Man U weak. Well, Man United is weak because obviously they've not really got the players to play Amarim's system. That's my general view. I think Amarim's a good coach. I really do. Obviously had tons of success at Lisbon. They've got some good players. I think Lenny Yoro is a decent player. We were linked with him for a while, and it was someone that I wanted at Spurs, and I think there's a player there for sure. Obviously, Dorgu's there now, someone that I've wanted for a long time and annoyed that we didn't get him. I think Maguire's even played well for them. You know, the issues with Maguire is obviously that if they try and do a high line, then you can hit him all day for pace. When they play a bit deeper, he's obviously a much better centre back because he's got players tucking in with him. You know, he's got two centre halves next to him. He's got wing backs that tuck in. He's got Agate in front of him. He's got tons of, protection. That's why he does really, really well. But if you can isolate Maguire, with pace, you can get him every day of the week and twice on Sundays. I think at times as well, they lack creativity from their wing backs. Mazraoui, I really like Mazraoui. But I also think Dalot is a really solid wing back, but Dallow's not a left wing back. And I think you can see there's an issue there where they do get forward that the creativity is not what they want from their left wing back position. So I think a lot of their creativity attack comes from Bruno trying to play really expansive balls. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Mainu beating a press and, getting the ball then to the front three. Amad Diallo is their best player this season. He's looked crazy good, which hence why if he's playing right wing, then I'm having Jed Spence out on that side and let Jed just deal with him. And then you throw Destiny on for the last 20 and Destiny would handle him, I want to talk about their striker position because I do think they lack real output from their striker. I think sometimes they don't support their strikers well enough with their style of play. But I've got some stats to show you their strikers have really underperformed this season. So yeah, get your score predictions in the comments. I want to see what we all think. Actually, we'll do a poll. We'll do a poll, but get me in your score lines as well if you want. Win, draw, lose. There we go. Boom. You vote in that poll. We should not give Ahmad space. No, we shouldn't be giving him space. Man United from head office all the way down to the groundsman. Jesus. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's get up to 4K subs and help fellow Spurs supporter. Thanks all. Coys, El Dante, the legend that you are, my friend. Appreciate it. Doing my job for me. Do you think Tell will stay next season? Well, you should have confidence that he will. Yes. Yes. Oh, you can't choose win. Let me end the poll. Let me start it again. Whoops, my bad. All right, pick. There, I did it the wrong way around. I put win in terms of in terms of the name of the poll. Apologies. Right, take two. Poll number 2. You can choose win this time. I can guarantee it. And Nana is weak. They have no reliable striker. Don't know their midfield partnership and have defensive injuries. Yeah, a lot of chopping and changing. 3-1 Spurs, 2-0, 2-1, 5-0. Chris, love it. 3-1. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna give you these stats surrounding their strikers before I tell you what I think the scoreline is going to be. Bottom 4 Premier League strikers for XG per 90. Xerxes is 4th bottom with 0.26, and Rasmus Højlund second bottom with 0.18. So look, they don't get enough from their strikers, but I think they sometimes don't give their strikers maybe enough as well. So there you go. 5-0, Steve. I could tell you what Steve was going to pick. It was 5-0 every day of the week, Sandesh reckons 3-1 for the most part. No one thinks a draw. Sorry, no one thinks we're going to lose, sorry. No one thinks we're going to lose. 3-0, Sonny, Johnson, and Tell. Ooh, I love it. Love it, Sonia. Look, for what I think, Baz reckons 3-2. We go 3-0 up, and Ahmad gets subbed on and scores 2. United strikers are, they're really missing Ante. Anthony's doing well at Betis. But then it's the same thing. It's like, this happens all the time. It's not, I'm not shocked that he's doing well. 4-0 Callum reckons. Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to go 3-1. I reckon 3-1. And I reckon they score their goal like the 85th, 86th minute. I think we batter him pillar to post. I really have a lot more confidence in this game than any other game for a long time. I've seen it twice this season. Once when we're at full strength and we're a level above them. Uh, Once where we've got the B team out, we've got barely got a centre back playing. I think I'm on the bench at one point, and we still win 4-3. And had Forster not given them goals, we would have won by it would have been 4-1. So yeah, for me, I've got confidence that we do win. I think we win 3-1. My goal scorers, I think Tell scores, obviously, because not he rejected Man United, Bayern rejected Man United. And I think he scores. Give me Madison off the bench and give me Sonny. Give me those three. That's what I reckon. 3-1. Will Werner play against Spurs? Yes. AZ battered Galatasaray 4-1. Yeah. Yeah, they did. It'll be down to either AZ Alkmaar and Galatasaray, depending on how the second leg goes, and the Real Sociedad game. One of those sides we will be getting. I think if we win, we go above United, so we probably won't win. Jesus. We do go above Man United if we do win, yes. What would the Premier League table look like just without any other fixtures happening? Spurs would move above them. We would move ahead of Crystal Palace, who are in 12th as well. Yeah. This season, by the way, is just not over. There's still there's still so much to play for, and I think a good month of fixture, a good 1 month to 6 weeks, you will catch so many of these teams above you. You really will. And with players coming back fit and healthy, you never know is what I'd say about that. Why midfielders a basket case? Our best three all tied: Gray, Bergval, and Decky. What's happening at Osimhen? Don't know, mate. Tell Brace, Jono, love it. If Anderlecht scored yesterday, I'd be nearly 2K better off. Oh, mate, hate to see it. Drinks would have been on you, but you hate to see it. I'm so Anjin like never before. Love it, Sandesh, mate. Good to have some positivity in your life. Nothing wrong with that. So look, 3-1 for me. Let's see how we rock and roll on Sunday. Obviously, we may be back tomorrow, depending on news that comes out. Sunday, we'll be back, obviously, to give you my last-minute thoughts ahead of the Manchester United game that morning. So look, enjoy the rest of your days. Enjoy your rest of your mornings, afternoon, evenings, wherever you are in the world. Look after yourselves, and I'll speak to you all very soon, hopefully with some really good positive Spurs news. Take care, everyone. Peace.